better way to do this piece, but this is what I know.
Okay.
Switching over to Zoom. It's going to be on my timeline. All right. Hello, my love. It's so great to be with you today on our first official Facebook Live.
Yes.
Cocktails and Pajamas.
Cocktail C&P, Cocktails and Pajamas.
Woo!
Woohoo! So, clink, clink.
Clink, clink.
Yeah.
Hello, my love. It's so great. Oh.
Are we good?
Yes, we're totally good. I just had to make sure that I wasn't having us replaying
Okay.
at the same time.
So, what are you drinking tonight?
So I made myself an old-fashioned, which is bourbon. We have a really great local distillery that we get at the farmer's market. So it's like a very rich, artisanal, handcrafted kind of bourbon. With some of the cherry juice that's in like the mararachinos, and it's one of those cherry jars with some orange bitters, so just some aromatic orange peels, and I think that's it today. How about you?
Well, I bought my first bottle of tequila last week.
I love that you're exploring.
I know, it's so out of my, it's just so out of my realm. And Italian grapefruit soda and some seltzer. So just enough sweetness.
Yeah.
To balance it out. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And it's a little heavy, but I'm like, we'll be okay. We'll get through the hour.
And given how warm it's gotten, just to have.
My goodness. Yes. Yes. So for me, this is the season of, so I call it gazpacho / Bloody Mary mix. Because I make my own gazpacho. And I love a cold soup. I love soup, period, but I love a cold soup in the summer. So I often will make gazpachos throughout the summer, and I kind of tweak the recipe. I know the basics of it, but then I kind of tweak it with whatever I have in the fridge. And then I also make a cucumber soup. Oh my gosh. It is, now that I don't mix into a cocktail.
Yeah.
But that is really delicious too. And it's an easy recipe because everything can be done in the blender.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I would love that recipe because I only, maybe 4 years ago in the city, was at an Indian restaurant, and it started with a cucumber soup cold on a hot day, and I was like, what is this? Like, I've never had it before. So
Yeah.
How are you, my love? How are you feeling with us live? And
yeah. So I'm excited to be here, and I just want to quickly introduce myself. I'm Heidi. And we have been doing this for well over 6 months, probably more like 9 months, but we started recording 6 months ago. And I guess 2 weeks ago, Foresta, who will introduce herself, said, let's go on Facebook Live and see if we can just get a little more viewage, more people who are viewing. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. But I also noticed that I was feeling a little nervous about it. I'm like, oh my God, I feel more exposed because I do have, like, I don't know how many followers or, friends I have on Facebook, but I have over, 400, I think, for anyway, between 350 and 400. And I'm like, oh, so it is a stretch. It's a stretch for me. And I think it's a good stretch. I think it's a really good stretch. And we talked about trust last week. And like I was saying to you months before we came on, that I wouldn't even consider doing this alone. And that's really, really true. It's really true. I wouldn't consider doing it alone because I love having a partner in crime. Someone who, a friend who will go the distance and challenge me and allow me to challenge you. It feels very It feels very cohesive and very balanced.
That's the word I was thinking, and I was like, that's not very enchantical, but it is true. It's cohesive. It's that alignment.
Yeah.
Thank you. That really
Yeah.
warms my heart, and I'm getting that both the eek factor of like, oh my God, we're doing this, and the place of like, oh, and here I feel safe to
Yeah.
stretch. Yeah, yeah. That I relate to that.
Yeah.
I feel like where, and I'm going to ask you this: do you feel like with us doing the Zoom to YouTube, there's a little bit less visibility? Like there's almost like some hiding that's possible.
I think so. I certainly think so. And so there's a safety factor, kind of, I don't know that it's intentional safety factor, but it's a safety factor that's sort of built in,
Totally.
right? And on Facebook was we're both pretty visible on Facebook. You post a lot of beautiful quotes and poetry as well as photography, which is stunning. It's just stunning. And I post a lot too, and I'm just like, oh, so let's this is just a way for our faces
Yeah.
and our voices to become more visible. Yeah.
And I actually want to speak to that because I feel it tugging on my heart for women out there who have dreams, right? And visibility can be such an eek, right? It can be exciting, it can be tension provoking, um, it can be downright scary, right? And so I want to speak to that place where we each bring some medicine just from the life we've lived, the soul we have, the lessons we've learned, and that when we hide, it's almost, it's not just a disservice to ourselves, but really like our gifts to the world, if that makes sense. And not to like make anyone feel, bad about themselves, but just to say like it's hard and it's such a worthy edge stretch
Right.
to give from that place.
Yeah.
Because it might never feel like, I've never been like, cool, I'm ready. It's been like, okay. And then trusting, the trust walk
Right.
between I don't feel ready and I'm doing it anyway
Mhm.
feels really important to me
Mhm.
because I have only received my confidence, competence, sense of what I'm capable of in the doing,
Right.
not in the theorizing and waiting till I felt ready to do it. And I think that's an important distinction.
It is. Yeah.
I don't know the myth, I don't know where I learned it. Like one day you'll feel ready, whatever that feels like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Versus like, nope, you're probably never going to feel fully competent, ready, and you can't because it's in every step of that journey that you gain your confidence
Mhm.
and competence.
Right. Right. And
So,
let me just say that right now, I don't feel ready.
yeah,
I I really don't feel ready, and yet I'm like I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to jump in with both feet and really use the words that I've manifested for myself this year, which are self-trust and spirit trust,
mm-hmm.
and know that I really have myself. And we've talked about that several times over the last couple of weeks, really knowing that we have ourselves and therefore we can have each other. Um, that just it speaks volumes to um, and I want to just sort of speak out loud here and just say, like, when it comes to relationships and friendships with women, that is so necessary. It's so important and it's so necessary.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
shine anyway, even if you don't feel ready, and
Yeah.
to be held in it.
And to be held in it. Yeah.
Yeah, because what I'm also hearing is this place of it's so cool you saying like I don't feel ready and yet we're live on Facebook because I think it's modeling again, right? It's a download of hey, sometimes the best move is to do it anyway. Um, and I was just getting this intuitive hit of like, what is it like if everyone just gave from that place? You know,
Yeah.
what
I
if,
want to allow myself to imagine that for a moment, right? Like to breathe that in, breathe in that energy. What would that be like? Wow. So if I imagine that for myself,
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware of the gift that I'm giving to myself, and then the tentacles, the energy that flows from that.
You're giving a gift to me.
I'm giving a gift to you. I'm giving a gift to anyone who's listening to our conversation.
Yeah.
That's huge.
You're gifting permission for people who might feel like they might need permission.
Right.
Yeah, and I feel the magnitude of that, like that breathing into it, because I feel like a lot of people who have really beautiful medicine are underground right now.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of like, we need your medicine and permission to be messy.
Permission to be messy. Permission to be perfect in our humanity, perfect in our imperfections.
Mm-hmm.
I just actually the quote that I chose tonight for my gratitude list was all about imperfections and the messiness, and I'm just like, that is humanity at its best. Like it's really what we need to embrace. Like, let's not put a stigma on it. Let's embrace it, because
Yeah.
the reality is that nobody's perfect. And I will be the first one to be like, I'm a recovering perfectionist. I'm a recovering imperfect imperfectionist.
I'm with you.
Oh,
There needs to be an oath here.
there needs to be like a club or a support group,
Yeah.
something, because there are many of us. And it's hard to, like, when I know for myself, when I get into that energy and I'm rolling in my imperfection, I'm like, what am I doing? That's where I have to stop myself. I'm like, what am I doing to myself? And how is this affecting my relationship with me? How's it affecting my relationship with other people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so huge because I'm thinking of the times, and even recently starting a business and all the things that that requires, of having a coach say consistent imperfect action on the daily, and having to like really work with some inner roadblocks of like, this letter doesn't feel perfect, I'm not going to send it. So my resistance looked like hesitation,
Yeah.
because I wanted something to be perfect that I had no data on. And the only way I get data on it is to send out the messy version and then refine, reiterate, right? Like the 1.0 to the 2.0 to the 3.0. And when I've learned about these really successful people who have successful mindset as well as successful business, they're okay with failing what appears to be failing. I'm gonna, esoterically we know it's not, but
Right.
they want to fail faster so they get the data for the 2.0,
Right.
and then fail a little bit to get the data for the 3.0, and they actually know that that's how it works, versus I'm going to start at zero and somehow do perfect someday magically.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, it's almost like humble yourself
Right.
to deal with those inner workings. Yeah.
Hmm.
And for me, I have to say, the moments, because I can't say I've fully let it go, but the moments that I can let perfectionism go are the moments when I do have spirit trust and self trust. And I'm also holding like, wow, it's really, I'm kind of beating myself up if I'm waiting to only do the things I dream of until I think they're perfect. Like, there's something about that that feels like a chain on my ankle.
Yeah.
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 Mm.
That was rich. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how are you doing?
I always feel like that question could go so many ways because I want to be honest, right?
Yeah.
Instead, like, great, how are you? And I think for me, I spent Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday having like moontime cramps. So feeling pretty grounded, pretty tired, pretty objective. Just kind of cool, like where I can go during that time. Um, and then today is sort of, I call it the trust walk day, the day after where I'm depleted.
Hmm.
But I'm still getting in the kayak. I'm still having the mushroom protein shake. I'm still taking the nap. You know, I'm still taking that 20 minutes out in the sun. Like, there's a day where I am sort of flat from my just life force energy being a little low, but I still do the things that I know are the cornerstones of my well-being. So that's what I call a trust walk day. It's like, this is not the day to have 3 bottles of wine because you feel tired and
Right.
depleted. This
Right.
is the day to actually stay with
Yeah.
your rituals of self-care and maybe amplify them.
Right.
Have an extra long nap, maybe have a second shake,
Right.
maybe have a longer rest on the balcony.
Hmm.
So I feel good about that. I feel steady. And, I was sharing with you just getting off a Zoom call, someone I care about, and really wanting to know about their world, and then feeling the heartstrings, tug at like the care I have for someone, the love I have, the not wanting to fix it, which is really good for me because I'm a big rescuer, a reformed rescuer. Um, but because of my coach's training, being like, you're resilient, you're resourceful, you're whole, you've got this, instead of being like, oh God, what do I do to help you? It's a really different, it's not this, it's this in energy, right? Like, I hear you, I love you, I support you. I'm still going to challenge you when you go off into victim or like, it shouldn't be that way kind of language. I feel really proud of myself. I can be like, hold on. Yeah, no, like, whatever's happening is happening, and like, the shouldn't be that way is not helpful. And it feels pretty badass for me to step into that place with people very close to me. Doing that with a client is like, of course, that's my job.
Right.
But doing that with the people closest to me that are the highest stakes, so to speak, feels really edgy and really alive. So I'm feeling good and a little schwitzy, you know, a little schwitzy. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. It's about 88, 89 here today.
Same.
Oi. And I was fortunate enough to have a friend come over a couple evenings ago and install my units, my AC units. And for the first time, it's been 4 years since I've been in this apartment, and I'm growing to love it more, which I'm very happy about. But this is the first year that I have AC in my kitchen. That it's a game changer. It's a game changer because I have 2 huge windows in my kitchen, and the way the sun rises and sets where I am in Philadelphia, um, at around between 2 and 4:30, 5 o'clock is the southwest sun, and it comes right in front of those windows. I can't even. It's really a lot. And so not only do I now have an AC installed, but I was a little MacGyvery today. And I found someone on eBay who was, those car window windshield thermal things that are
The
reflective.
aluminum things, the silver
Yes,
things. Yeah.
yes. I bought 6 of them, and I didn't even know what I was just I just bought them. I was like, they're cheap. I'm going to buy them. They have loops on each end, so I have a little nail, literally hung them. It was so easy. I know. I know. So I can very easily take them down, put them back up. So it's not like, because at first I was like, oh, I'll have to tape them, then they'd be up all summer. No, just put them up and take them down, and they fold because they're like an accordion. I really feel like I made out.
Game changer.
Totally, total game changer. Yes, because the heat is no joke, and I know that you struggle like I do with the hot and temperatures and the humidity. It's crazy on the East Coast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was funny because you had said that a few days ago, and I was like, gosh, okay, like, because I was thinking it's in the low 70s, and I was like, okay, maybe like you're warm in the low 70s. I hadn't looked at the forecast, and so yesterday when I was schwitzing during coaching, and I was like, honey, Do you think we could get those AC boxes in the next 24 hours, which he did
Yeah.
brilliantly, took the time to set up our bedrooms, kind of how your kitchen is.
Mm,
So between 2 and 5, it becomes like this little hot box. It's like someone turned a stove on in there,
yes.
And there's an attic door thing that is basically like the heat from the roof seems to waft from there, right? And it's not quite insulated well, but it's like it's where the attic storage is.
Hmm.
And so I was just so relieved just watching him install it, right? And being like, if I get really, because it's a malaise for me, it's like I'll get a heat rash on my back and I'll fall into this malaise where like everything seems hard, like reaching for something.
I get that.
Oh, it's
I
out of reach. I'm not doing that right now.
Yeah.
So it really harshes my vibe of like trying to get stuff done. So it was like,
Hmm.
oh, thank God if I need it, it's there.
Yeah.
And I will say, I kind of like I like the warmth, like my muscles like the warmth,
Hmm.
but I have to balance it with energy, life force energy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
How cool that you had a friend take care of that.
I know. I know. I would have paid
So
him $1 million if I'd have had a million, I would have paid him. I was just like, oh, I will let me bow to you because that's a big deal. Like that's not my wheelhouse. Because here's my fear.
yeah,
I like when I think about the window unit going in, I am so afraid that if I were to do it, that it would fall out
same.
and kill or really hurt someone or kill someone. Like that's my biggest fear. And I'm like, I don't need that kind of stress. I will stress over just about anything else, but that, no, no, that's my limit. Like I know my limits. I can't. So anyway, glad I hired him and paid him, and yeah, it was easy peasy, and it was really good to see him in person because
Yeah,
I've done sessions with him, and he felt okay having, he's had the injection, and when he came in, I was just like I wanted to hug him, like we're like he's a hugger, we're both huggers, and he's like, oh no, let's hug. He's like, I love a good hug, and so that was really sweet. I was like, oh, okay, good. Yeah, so it was a sweet visit, even though it was productive and he did
right.
things while he was here. It was just nice to kind of catch up because the only other time he was in my apartment was when I moved in, and he and his partner at the time were kind of helping me feng shui and get things kind of in order and where things might fit and look and work well and energetically and all that kind of stuff. So I learned a lot from this friend. He's pretty remarkable.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. The other
yeah.
piece I'm hearing too is like, as a woman, the self care aspect here. Because I'm hearing this a lot with my clients where I hear these women who are like, well, if I have to, I can. And it's like, cool. If you have to, you can. But that doesn't mean you have to do everything,
Right.
right? That place of like, do I want to do this? Which I think is queen energy. I think
Hmm.
it's very different because this like soldier on, muscle up sort of, if I have to, I could, you know,
Yeah.
deal with putting in the AC boxes, or if I
Yeah.
have to, I could, I don't know, mow 20 acres, whatever,
Right.
right? But I hear that a lot. And it's
Hmm.
like, but do you want to?
Right.
Because that's a seat of power,
It
right?
is.
And we can't all be frou frou and always not doing what we want. Sometimes we got to do our taxes and we got to adult, right? And there's things that we can just in a really self caring way hand over to others so we're tended to.
Right.
It feels
Right.
free,
Yeah.
And I don't mean just partnerships, I mean just like delegating stuff that's
Right.
hard and maybe not hard for someone else.
Right. And that's a form of self care.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that maybe 6 months ago I would have named it like that, but it really is a form of self care.
Yeah.
And I feel like journey with self-care has really evolved,
Yeah.
and the way that I think about it is very different than when I was practicing it at the beginning. And that's one of the questions that I do ask myself. I'm like, do I want to do this? Do I really want to do this?
Yeah.
No. Okay. Who can I find that I know if I paid them, if I pay them, who would do this? I can find somebody to do that. That's easy, right? Like
Mhm.
right now, I have an office chair that I replaced it with another office chair, but I have an office chair that was given to me, and I live on, as you know, I live on a third floor walk up, and there's no way that I'm going to try to get this thing down to the first floor and then wait for someone to come pick it up. So anyway, I've asked my neighbor if he would, just come and get it. And I'll say, I have it near the front door. You don't even have to come in my apartment. Just literally take it. And he's been very good about that. Like I have really wonderful neighbors right now, which I'm really grateful for. Um, so that's been a game changer too. Just like me wanting to stay here a little bit longer. I'm like, because when you have good neighbors, it's everything. It really is everything. And he offers, like he's just like, is there like is he's like, not to degrade me or disrespect me, but he's like, look, if there's anything you ever need, like for me to carry downstairs or blah blah blah. And I'm like, i'm I got your number, I will certainly message you, and I have a few times.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like the queenly self care, self regard, self honoring piece. And the piece that's sort of hitting me right now as we're talking about this is also not robbing other people of their contribution, altruism, the benefit it gives them. Because I know for me, in my experience, I've had friends make a record and say, hey, can you listen through these 10 songs and give me your real, honest feedback on the vocals, on the beats per minute, on this crashing cymbal, whatever. And, or like, hey, can you look at this flyer and just give me your 2 cents about it, right? Like, there is something really uplifting in someone trusting, choosing to request support, needing it, and I can come through. And I don't say that from like a martyr place where I'm going to come through on everything, but like when it lights me up, it's like, wow, I'm trusted, I'm needed, I can be a beneficial presence in this moment to this person I care about, create a beneficial contribution in their life. Like, it is such an emotional investment, it's such a win that if no one asked me for support, like I think I would feel robbed of that part of my nature. So just putting that out there for the people who are super selfless and don't ask anyone for anything,
Right.
it builds bonds and connection
And trust.
and trust
Right.
and intimacy.
And intimacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want, it's like blowing that whole, like, yes, yes, you can do it all on your own. 100%. I have no doubt the clients I have are fully capable and self-sufficient, could do it all on their own. But it's like, but you don't have to. And everyone wins.
Right.
Yeah.
And the one thing I want to add to that is, if as humans we can learn that at a younger age,
Mm. Yeah.
the better off we're going to be. Hands down, the better off we're going to be, because I I don't think I learned that until I was probably in my early 40s.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, early 40s, but had I realized that, known that 10 years earlier when I was 30,
Right.
like when I think about the expanse of my relationships and women friends that I have, game changer. Game changer.
Because it's
Because
relationship building.
it is relationship building. It is. And it's this mutual trust. It's this give and take. And it really is, some people say 50-50. I say 100-100.
I like that.
know?
That's like
Yeah,
each
I say
side of the
100,
street.
100.
Yeah,
I really do. Yeah.
yeah. I agree with you. I think of the times I've either had conflict with a friend or had needed them and was vulnerable in a way that was evident, I suppose, and how much that built trust for me. Yeah, 100%. It feels
Yeah.
really good to name. Mm.
Hmm. Yeah. So would you like, I mean, we're already
Oh my
45 minutes
God,
in.
what happened?
But if you want to introduce yourself, just, who you are and yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Oh my God,
Yeah,
I
I
just am
know.
so floating in all of this.
I know.
Okay, so I am Firishta. I am a relationship coach, a shadow workshop facilitator. I also just love geeking out on interpersonal psychology and neuroscience and all the things that make us humans tick and um, have our choice between victim and author and like all in between. Um, and I am just so delighted to have a friend like you who, when the pandemic hit, was like, hey, do you want to do this? Just check in. At that point, it was just check in with each other once a week or once every 2 weeks. And then I think it entered into, I think we need each other every week. And then it was like, hey, why don't we record this? And then here we are on our first Facebook Live. So I'm just feeling the full magnitude of that timeline and the gratitude that comes with that. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. I saw the time. I know we started a little later, but I was like, what?
I
It's
know.
over? No.
I know. Well, let's go another 20 minutes since we started at 17 or
That's
ish,
kind of
right?
me. Yeah, maybe like
Yeah.
10ish at least.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Do you want to do any kind of chat packing or do you feel like, is there anything else you want to be seen in?
Um well, I realize so I'm not on I mean, I know we're recording live on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not in my Facebook page.
That's okay.
Like, so
Yeah.
what I want to say is that if anyone is watching and you want to if you want to communicate with us, let us know you're here. Don't just, please, if you want to be invisible, that's fine. If you want to be anonymous, that's okay. But if you want to let us know that you're here, we would love to know that.
Mm.
Um, if you have a comment or question that you want us to respond to, we are open to that. I think that's really all I wanted to say.
I love that. Yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
for inviting the interaction and the conversation.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Do we want to do chat pack or do we want to do the and?
Oh,
Because I think we did chat pack last week.
I can grab the and.
Okay,
Want to do that? Okay.
let's do the
Perfect.
and. Yep. So as Fresta is getting her card pack, we at the end of our hour together, we take turns and I have what is known as the chat pack, and they're more kind of not so serious questions. Some are a little more serious. And then she's got a deck called the and that I think you can find. I've actually watched a lot of YouTube the and videos between. Have you seen those?
No.
Oh, you need to go on YouTube. It's really fascinating. There's so it like some of the conversations, and like there's one couple that I've been following and they did like I want to say like a couple years span. Actually, there are a couple couples that I'm following, and they answer the and that's how they got. That's how I found them. I think I typed in the and on YouTube, and it's it's been fascinating just kind of watching their growth, and then they take like a couple year break, and then recently, I'm going to say maybe 6 months ago, I saw a more recent like updated where they are in their lives. Yeah, it's anyway. So
I love
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Okay. I will check that out. I didn't know that was a thing. I think I just saw these. Maybe the Gottmans recommended it, or it was on Instagram, and I thought, what a
Gottman Institute,
yeah, and I
right?
thought, what a cute thing to get for Valentine's Day,
Mm,
you know. And that
yeah,
was the best because I think previous Valentine's Day, we would get things for each other. And this Valentine's Day, we got stuff for us. Like this was a for us gift, and Richard got me a mushroom grow box. So we got to watch these oyster mushrooms just like grow and just nurse them and care for them. So it was like how wild that we transitioned to like not, oh, here's a necklace for you, but like
Right.
here's something we can do together.
Right. That's sweet.
Okay, so I'm shuffling. I'm
Okay.
going to ask you for the stop because I don't know.
Stop.
Okay. Fill in the blank. You drive me crazy when?
So you drive me crazy when?
That might be more of a couple question, but who knows?
Wow. Um, I don't know that there's anything.
Yeah. We can always pass too. Right? I can pick
Let's
the next.
pass and draw another card.
Okay, yeah. Some of them feel a little like cliche, like that one, like couple cliche.
Sure.
Tell me if we've done this one before. What have I taught you about intimacy?
Ugh. What haven't you taught me? Um, so I'm just going to name it. I'm feeling some emotion while up here. And I really feel from the get-go when we met at the grief retreat, which was, I was trying to remember when that was. It's been at least 3 or 4 years.
Feels right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we had broken out into, we were in small groups, and you and I were in one of the small groups. And I think because of the way that you listen and your presence, not only with me, but with other people, and how closely and well that you listen to their words and have this ability to reflect back, and even sometimes rephrase something. Like when I'm like, sometimes I find that I'm struggling with words or how to maybe articulate it, and you have this way to phrase something, and I'm like, yes. And first of all, I feel very supported by that. And because of the support, there is this, there's this very natural, organic intimacy that happens. It's simply there. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I'm soaking that up. That feels, I resonate, I relate, and it feels really sweet to receive that from you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Taking my savor moments these days.
Yeah.
Can you read this, or is it backwards?
I think I know the question. I think I know the question. What have I taught you about intimacy?
Yeah, I feel like a constellation of things pop up. I literally see like a constellation in the sky in my mind's eye of the fact that you reached out to me during a really, hard time for many on the planet. There was a like, I don't know what to call it. It's not a chosenness, but it was just this like, oh my gosh, I'm really paying attention here to someone who's reaching out with a really meaningful collaboration. And from the first time I met you, I was like, I like this person. I want to be around this person. And it took us some time to cultivate that. But I think it's the like, you've challenged me to sort of come out a little more. You've cared enough to be honest that way, right? Like, so it's not just fluffy friendship. It's like, oh, you're going to have my back. You're going to have your back, and name things when they feel off to you. That feels super trustworthy to me. And I can own just from my own lifetime of things, historical things. I have a pretty low intimacy threshold, and it's the thing I crave the most. So it's been this inner conflict of like, oh, I want that. Oh my God, that's too much. Oh, I want that. Oh my God, that's too much. Um, that what you call this like just organic intimacy that didn't feel pulled from me and it didn't feel engulfing, and it felt just like it's what you do, this deep loving acceptance of come as you are, you're welcome here. It feels really huge for me.
Mm, thank you. I'm humbled. Yeah. Hmm.
It's so lovely. I'm sort of just soaking you up in this moment a little bit before we call it. Yeah. Just appreciating that even through Zoom, I feel like I can soul gaze with you.
I feel the same way. Yeah. It's been really sweet when we're able to do that. Yeah.
Mm,
Mm.
thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Mm, thank you for your presence.
Mm.